welcome to another episode of Nerdtooine and Movie Podcast. Here, Nerdtooine Wrestling's first official show. I've done other shows on here. This has been my home for my preview and prediction specials, but this is the first episode truly of Nerdtooine Wrestling. I'm going to be starting a new YouTube channel and everything as well to do all of that. But yeah, so right now we're going to be doing a prediction special right here for AEW Full Gear. I'm excited about this. I'm not going to lie, I would be interested in them getting on a streaming platform so I wouldn't have to do this and pay for a pay-per-view every every month for $50. That's no fun for me, but I have what I keep saying with the AEW pay-per-views is that, not for nothing, they're giving you the bang for your buck. If you pay $50, they're going to put on one hell of a show. And today is going to be no different. What's up, Pop Buds? Welcome in. Today is going to be an insane show. They have quite a lineup today, which I actually checked right before the start of the show here. They did add a few matches, one of which is the 0 Hour. They definitely snuck in a match or two here, which I'm really excited about. So I'm trying to get my stuff set up so I can see everything I need to see. I really need to get a second screen. That's the issue. But I have a Mac, and Macs don't like second screens unless they're Mac screens, so it's definitely not ideal. But that's okay, because I don't want to get rid of it. I don't want to hide the chat. Here, I don't need to see myself. I'm recording it. I can see it on my little screen here, so I can just do that. There we go. All right, here we go. So first up, we have a ROH World Championship match with Eddie Kingston versus Jay Lethal. There should be no surprise to anyone in the world that I am going to be picking my boy Eddie Kingston no matter what, but I will admit that my boy Eddie Kingston has a task on his hand. Jay Lethal is a very underrated wrestler who's been on a lot of shows and has done a lot of great things. I definitely see this being a great match. The only way I see Eddie losing this is if the Jay Lethal's little henchmen show up and get involved, which obviously is probably going to happen. But I will say that, to me, Eddie Kingston 100% of the time is coming out with this championship right here. I don't think what's up, Emperor Lightyear? I don't think that you can take the two belts off of either or the belts off of Eddie Kingston with a pay-per-view right in his backyard. If he's gonna lose it, you're gonna have him go into that pay-per-view with two titles. It's just that simple. It is just that simple. But also Eddie is, as my good friends on the Nerd Initiative Wrestling Dojo show, their live show when I was on appeared on it, Eddie Kingston is like the soul of AEW. He may not be the life's blood, he may not be like the biggest star, but he is the heart and soul of that company, and I really hope that he continues his winning ways and defeats Jay Lethal here. I think he should. I don't see a reason why he shouldn't win there. But next up, we have... Oh, it's been announced. It looks like MJF. I was actually going into this thinking that it was still a mystery. MJF and Samoa Joe for the ROH Tag Team Championship against the Guns. Or the Ass Boys. They don't like being called that anymore. Excuse me. But, okay, so this is interesting development. So Samoa Joe, and this is a report, so I haven't seen this on an AEW page. Like I said, I just noticed that just now when I was looking over my notes, because I copy and pasted something I saw online so I can verify that and make sure I spelled everything right and said everything right. But MJF and Samoa Joe. So that means he's giving Samoa Joe a world championship match after he defeats, we'll get into that in a second, but Jay White later in the night. But he's going to end up going up against the Guns, who are part of Bullet Club Gold, along with Jay White and Juice Robinson, who I honestly like. I understand it was a bit. I understand there was a meaning behind it. I understand it was to put spotlight on AEW and MJF. So when he went and did the whole thing, I get it. I get it. But I can't tolerate him anymore. Like his antics were always fun and amusing, and then now for me, I see Juice Robinson on the screen, I want to turn it off. I look directly at my phone and barely pay attention to the rest of the match because I can't stand looking at him. And I'm not saying that he is anti-Semitic or anything like that, but that segment they did, whether it was agreed upon by MJF or not, whether or not he did a whole bunch of press afterwards saying it was okay and it was to bring awareness and I get all that. I understand the reason why you're doing it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying it was disgusting and I don't like it and I can't stand the guy who did it anymore. I never really truly liked Juice Robinson, but now I just can't. And it's not even like heat. Like I hate him. Like I would boo him. I just wouldn't give him the time of day. Like if I see him, like if he's like going on one-on-one, I will change the channel. I will. I just can't. I just can't. And I know sometimes it's easy to not separate, the wrestlers with their real life. Like I don't think if I saw the dude who is Juice Robinson in public, I wouldn't be like, oh, there's that anti-Semitic guy. No, I wouldn't think that at all. I'd be like, oh, there he is. And I would just walk by. You know what I mean? I don't have time, to be angry at someone's existence unless they're, the ones, the Yahtzee. All right, moving on. Oh, wait, so MJF and Samoa Joe are winning the ROH title still. That's just going to happen. Claudio Castagnoli versus Buddy Matthews, which was made last night on on Collision, which, let's stop for a second and talk about AEW's decision here. They normally have Collision on Saturdays, but since they're doing the pay-per-view tonight at 8, they moved Collision to Friday, to go head-to-head with SmackDown, and then still aired Rampage as normal, but only an hour, if I'm not mistaken. I actually missed the Rampage part because I had taped it. I wasn't feeling good. I was laying down and I wasn't paying attention, and I just completely missed it. That there was the Rampage was still on after Collision last night. So when I watched it later, I was like, oh damn, I missed some stuff. But maybe that was confirmed on Rampage. I just didn't see that, but. I think Buddy Matthews is taking this. Claudio Castagnoli, I love, I didn't like him in WWE, like the Swiss Cyborg, like all of that. I just didn't like, his characters always felt so bland and dry to me. I like him as himself here in AEW. He's just a overpowering like a big strong threat, and I like that. He's really cool to me, at least. I enjoy Claudio's work, and Buddy Matthews is like, he can literally have a banger with every single wrestler in the world. It doesn't matter how talented or not talented they are. He can get a great match out of them, and Claudio is a great wrestler. And Buddy Matthews is going to bring out the best of him today. I think this is going to be super underappreciated because it's on the 0 hour. But I think the idea here is to have this ridiculously, so they have 2 championship matches and then that match as the free 0 hour pre-show to try to entice people to get if this is what we're giving you for free, could you imagine what we're going to give you if you pay us $50? It's a brilliant move in my opinion. I think that's a very smart idea. These 3 matches are pay-per-view worthy matches. The only one you can argue is Eddie Kingston and Jay Lethal might not be, and that would be incorrect, but I can see people making that argument because it's ROH, and a lot of people just automatically, well, ROH is like their NXT. I mean, it is and it isn't. Think about who has the ROH titles. I mean, literally, who's the ROH tag team champion right now? MJF and Adam Cole, technically, but stepping in, Samoa Joe. These are not developmental talent. And, you can make the argument that that's detrimental to ROH. That's a whole nother story that we're not going to get into right now. But you've got two legitimate title matches and what will be an absolute, and I'm telling you, this is going to be, Claudio versus Buddy Matthews is going to be an absolute banger. Because they both hit really hard, and technically they're really good. And Buddy is so fast. I think this is going to be an interesting test for Claudio, because Claudio is real strong and he's quick, but Buddy is fast and strong. And some of the moves he does, I mean, the match he had with Wheeler Yuta last night on Collision was absolutely fantastic. Like, it was a great match between, and I mean, even though everyone in the whole arena knew Wheeler Yuta was going to lose, unfortunately, Yuta is the one of the Blackpool Combat Club to take the pins to start the beats with the rest of the Combat Club, which is exactly what we saw last night with Claudio and Buddy Matthews here. So, and I did like that in at Collision, Buddy Matthews was like sitting there, and Claudio's like, "Yeah, I challenge you to a match at 0 hour, unless you have to go get permission from Malachi." And he's like, "No, we're doing it." So that's gonna be interesting. That might even be a plot point used later in the pay-per-view with the House of Black, the Kings of the Black Throne, in the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. But I'm gonna go Buddy Matthews here over Claudio to sum up the 0 hour. I think you have two baby faces. I mean, we'll throw MJF and Samoa Joe as baby faces in here because everyone all agrees that the Guns are heels, you know what I mean? So, like, Samoa Joe and MJF kind of ride that line of, like, we love them so much, but they do heel things. Samoa Joe more so than MJF at this point, because MJF is trying to do this, like, almost like redemption arc kind of thing he's got going on. But, yeah, so that's crazy. So, I do have one graphic for that. So this is like I was speaking about, initially it was we don't know who his partner is. So I'm guessing sometime between last night and today, he's agreed to take Samoa Joe's help. So that's interesting development, which means we will be getting a rematch of an absolute banger, the Samoa Joe versus MJF. For the AEW World Title sometime down the line. So that's pretty cool. All right, so I don't have the exact match order. I can never find the match order specifically, but we're going to go down the line with all the matches that we've got here. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about this one. We've got Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho versus the Young Bucks. Now, this match is interesting because the Young Bucks have a guaranteed AEW World Title shot whenever they want it. The Young Bucks don't like that Kenny Omega is now teaming with Chris Jericho. So they challenge them to this match. If the Young Bucks win, Kenny can no longer team with Jericho, period. If Kenny Omega and Jericho win, they get the Young Bucks tag team championship opportunity. Scintillating. Now, this is interesting because we have three people who are running the company and someone who is kind of running with the. So this is all like the people. This is one thing about AEW that is worrisome. It's very reminiscent of, and I hate making this comparison, but kind of like WCW, where these guys actually can control their fate 100%. So, like, if this match was originally supposed to go on, and maybe there is bad blood that happened in the last couple weeks, I'm not saying there is, but for this argument, the Bucks can literally be like, well, we're EVPs, we can just walk, we're not going to show up, and who's going to find them? You know what I mean? Like, they can do that. So this is an interesting one. I don't know how this. I don't know. Like, so like my normal thought process is what will help storylines better. And Kenny Omega and Jericho having a tag team championship match. I mean, I don't know how that continues any storylines other than maybe kind of like freeing the Young Bucks, because a lot of people gave them shit, and me included, when they won the number one contender shot. It's like, really? Like, why? Like, okay, sure. And then, like, when FTR lost the championship belt, we're like, see, this makes no sense. So you're going to have FTR lose it, and then the Young Bucks beat somebody else, and then, what, so you're going to have the rematch be FTR challenging for the titles back? I mean, that's okay. But both of these, like, the Young Bucks and FTR kind of are played as, like, arrogant baby faces, like they're the good guys, but they're kind of jerks, so it's hard to see where they're going with this. I'm going to go ahead and say that Kenny Omega and Jericho win, thus making the Young Bucks even more angry at Kenny Omega and further having issues, because they have issues with Hangman. Hangman just left them, in the ring to lose the ROH Trios Championship. And then Kenny Omega leaves them to go run with Chris Jericho, try to take on the Don Callis Society family. I don't understand why they don't just team up. Like, okay, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Jericho, Ibushi versus whoever the Don Callis family has at the time. That's a banger of a match and a half. We've already seen that match pretty much, though. So, I mean, maybe that's the idea, that they're just trying to get away from repetitive matches, which is a good thing. That's a good thing. But this match from the get-go, even in the build to it, kind of felt weird and forced. It was almost like, we have to give these four guys something to do on the pay-per-view. Let's put them together. What? Kenny and the Young Bucks are cool. Just add Jericho or something in there, and we'll just figure it out. Like, I don't know. That it was always felt weird, but I'm gonna go with Kenny Omega and Jericho over the Young Bucks. Now that's my pick, but I just want to say, I would love for them to do a legit heel turn for the Young Bucks and have them cheat to win, and then beat down Kenny. That would be something I would love to see and would prefer to be wrong and get that. Just going to throw that out there. All right, let's move on moving right along. So we have Timeless Tony Storm versus Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's World Title. This one's a toughie, because Shida is now the only 3-time AEW Women's World Champion. They kind of gave her 2 lackluster runs, so my thought process would be to give her an extended run, but with as good as Timeless Tony Storm has been with the vignettes and, almost breaking the fourth wall type thing, even though the wrestlers in AEW do speak to, the camera sometimes, the way she does it seems fourth wall-y. Like, it definitely seems like she's like, oh, enjoy this commercial, these guys are awesome. Like, you don't normally hear the wrestlers saying, we're going to commercial, like, and then being picture in picture, like, interacting with it. It's brilliant. Let's be real. That's Timeless Tony Storm gimmick, or I don't want to say even gimmick, let's say persona, or packaging, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's fucking beautiful. I love it. But that being said, I don't know if I can give Tony Storm the victory here. You know what I see happening? I see Tony Storm losing due to interference by Ruby Soho. I mean, sorry, not Ruby Soho. Saraya. Because Ruby's going to be off, with her new boyfriend. Like, I don't know how much I like that angle, because I love Ruby Soho, and I think almost putting her together with a male talent is to package them almost together unless this is just part of the storyline to break up both of those groups. Because I could see that happening, and if they work together as like a mixed tag team or like just supporting each other, I think that could be really cool. And then have Saraya all on her own again, because she's going to create another enemy here with Timeless Tony Storm. I think that would be very, very interesting. But, and another thing I will admit that I do is I look at the entire card, and I think, you can't have all of the baby faces win, you can't have all the heels win. So, considering there's the TBS Championship match also tonight. I am going to say... this is tough. I'm going to say Shida retains, yeah. Shida retains due to interference, or DQ, because Tony Storm flies off the handle, which would be great for both. Like, they have a great match, and then Tony Storm freaks out and has a timeless Tony Storm moment. It helps with her character. It makes them both look strong. I'm all in on that. We're going to go ahead and lock in Shida retains the Women's World Championship. All right, moving right along. Next up, so we have it's a AEW Tag Team Championship match that is now a ladder match because Absolute Ricky Starks thinks it's an advantage because he has near 7-foot Big Bill as his tag team partner. So the champions, Ricky Starks and Big Bill versus FTR and the House of Black, Malachi Black and Brody King, the kings of the Black Throne, as well as LFI, Rush, and Dualistico. Rush and Dax Harwood had an absolute match of the night last night, showing off. I don't think FTR is taking this home. I feel like Ricky Stark's maneuvering, or at least what he thought was maneuvering, is going to come back to bite him. There's also no disqualifications in a ladder match. So what's to stop Buddy Matthews from joining them in the ring? Absolutely nothing. So do we think LFI or the House of Black? Man, it would be hard for me to vote against the House of Black considering how much TV time they've got for their vignettes and promos as of late. Rush and LFI have got a lot too, so don't get me wrong, they're also up there. And I don't know much about LFI, I'm gonna be 100% honest, but the matches I've seen, especially from Rush, is just, he's a beast. Like, I don't even, like, I was trying to, like, he's really something different. He feels like, man, almost like a cross between one of the new style, with the high-flying luchador style, but the throwback to the old, like, the way he chops and the way he, like, plays up the fact that wrestling can be predictive. So, like, he'll do, like, he said, you get the bull, you come at the bull, you get the horn. So he'll start to do the run-up and to give, the stomp to the face where he's got him hanging upside down. They'll cover up, and he'll just stop right before, and then just kick him in the face. Like, it's beautiful. Like, I like Rush. I would love to see them win it here, but I'm going House of Black. I think the House of Black has had too many vignettes, and they're just too good. I mean, with Brody King and Malachi Black, like, they're monsters. Like, Malachi Black should be going up against MJF for the AEW World Title. He's that good. And freaking Brody King can go up against anybody for any other title. I mean, he could even probably compete for the AEW World Title as well. He moves a lot better than some of his size should be able to. Some of the things he does is pretty spectacular, and Malachi's kicks are lethal. Lethal. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm going House of Black. I'm gonna go House of Black. I'm gonna stick it out and say House of Black is gonna win and become your new AEW World Champions. Moving right along. If you can't see as well, below me here is my overall record for AEW. I'm doing pretty good, but I've only done 2 pay-per-views actually on air, so we'll see. And be honest with you, this one, I feel like I'm going to be all over the place on this one, so we'll see how this comes out when it's all said and done. But we're going to move right along to, we have a 3-on-3, so it's Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland. I almost said, like, they put me over the edge, versus Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne. Now, this has been a story they've been building up for a while. Initially, Adam Copeland refused to fight Christian. He came to AEW to be part of the team, but then Christian kept pushing it, and then Sting also did some pushing and some gave him a hard heart-to-heart. And now they're all teaming up. So this match is going to be one where I don't think the baby faces win, ladies and gents. I definitely feel like Christian Cage and his evil ways will find a way to beat the more talented Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland. Because if you look at it, yes, Luchasaurus is a very good wrestler, big time. Nick Wayne is only 18 years old, or maybe he's a little bit older now, but he's real young, and he's not as experienced. He's very talented, got a very high ceiling, and a lot of potential. But if you're going to go bar for bar here, you go bar for bar, Sting is better than Luchasaurus. Copeland and Christian, right about the same, and Darby Allin is better than Nick Wayne. So, in theory, the good guy should win here. But I don't have the good guys winning. I do not have the good guys taking this down. This is going to be Christian, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne for the win, which kind of hurts my feelings. It's going to be, that's kind of insane, because that would mean that Adam Copeland's first wrestling appearance on a pay-per-view, he would lose. That'd be a nice little interesting twist there. But it's gonna be a fun match either way. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm probably wrong about a lot of these. I feel like this pay-per-view is gonna destroy my record, but we're gonna keep moving right along. Next up, now this is, I couldn't find a graphic that had the true, it's a triple threat, because Red Velvet and Sky Blue had a match, and Sky Blue defeated her, so that's why she is now in the triple threat versus Chris Statlander and I'm drawing a blank. Chris Statlander, Sky Blue, and Julia Hart. Yeah, Julia Hart's awesome. This is an interesting match because Julia Hart is with the House of Black, and she kind of has this like mystical type of feel to her, dark magic kind of thing. So when she spit the mist into Sky Blue's eyes, she's been different. She's been darker and more to the point. No smiles, just full on, just beating people up. I don't know. I don't feel like the House of Black is going to get 3 victories tonight. I already have Buddy Matthews beating Claudio, and I already have the House of Black winning the tag team championships in a ladder match. But I don't know if they're ready to give Sky Blue a championship. And while I love Chris Statlander, I think her reign is getting very stale. And I think the way to, when I see a champion in a triple threat match who's been really dominant and has won a lot of one-on-one defense of their titles, it gives me the idea that it's kind of shifting the scales a bit so that that champion can lose without looking weak. So, like, this is just ripe for a title change. But man, I don't know. This is a hard pay-per-view, man. This is gonna be a great one. I'm thinking, man, I'm gonna go Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander is retaining. Man, there's a lot of retentions on this show. See, that's why I'm like, I can't be picking this right. Only one title change. Oh no, there's gonna be another title change. Okay. All right. So yeah, let's go Sheeta. Sheeta. Wow. That was the last one we were talking about. Chris Statlander for the win, retaining her TBS championship. This is going to be a great match. I think there's going to be a lot of storytelling in this match because Chris is going to be stuck in the middle of a fight between Julia and Sky. So yeah, I'm gonna go Chris Statlander to retain her TBS championship in a great match. All right, next up we've got Orange Cassidy weighing whatever from wherever, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy versus the sick bleep, Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley's getting that title back tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm calling it now. Orange Cassidy is not going to be able to retain his championship against Jon Moxley because it's going to set up Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley 3. If you haven't noticed, that's a lot of times what they're doing here in AEW. They have rematches of big matches, and then they actually let you know this is the second, the third, the fourth. I don't know if that's wise. I like it personally because I'm OCD and it's cool, so I can keep up with everything. So I know this is the second match, of their rivalry. That's interesting. But like, so what? Is there gonna be Orange Cassidy versus Mox 12? You know what I mean? Like, I initially it's a good idea when you're it's almost like you're trying to add fictitious like gravitas to the rematch. And I don't know if that's a smart thing to do. And like when you have, because it's almost like they're faking these rivalries, is what it almost comes off like. Because like, so tonight, for instance, there's Orange Cassidy, Jon Moxley 2, and then later on, Swerve and Hangman 2. Like, and they did it also when it was Young Bucks for FTR 3 and 4. It's like, okay, that's a problem. If you have all of these classic matches that continuously happen again and again, I enjoy them because I like watching wrestling, but for a lot of people, that'll get stale real quick. But I definitely have Mox taking the title back because he never actually lost it, like, he wasn't supposed to lose it at least, but like he got injured and like and then they had what was it, Penta? No, not Penta. Ray Fenix take the belt for a little while before Orange Cassidy got it back. This is gonna be a great match. Orange is very underrated as a wrestler because he does some comedic stuff, like the hands in the pockets. I initially didn't like it, but like if you look at what he's doing with his hands in his pockets, go ahead and just try to do a kip up with your arms. Go ahead, try. And do me a favor and film it and then send it to me so I can laugh at it. This dude is doing kip ups with his hands in his pockets. It's ridiculous. I actually like have become a real big fan of Orange Cassidy over the last few weeks. Last few months, I would say. What really did it for me was that at All In at Wembley, that stadium stampede when he put the tape backwards and then broke a bottle of glass and put it on. Oh man, that was beautiful. He can't do anything like that, and we've already shown that Mox can just eat one of his orange punches. So and that and they played that up at the end of the match, and then they ended wow, he took one of my punches and it was ineffective. You know what I mean? Like, so I definitely, I would love for Cassidy to retain, but I've got too many other retentions on this list. I'm going to play the odds here. Moxley wins and becomes the new AEW International Champion, Jon Moxley. I'm a big fan of his. I'm just worried for him. I think he needs to slow down with all of the death matches that he does, just for his well-being. Like, I don't know if it's just if maybe Mox plays it up and like that's how I'm Jon Moxley. I feel like that's like how his body really is, and I think he's in a lot of pain a lot of the time. So I for his betterment of his health, I would hope that he kind of slows it up a little bit. So next up, moving right along, we only got a couple. I think we got like 2 or 3 matches left. Next up, we've got in a Texas death match, Swerve Strickland, whose house? Swerve's house, versus Hangman Adam Page. In a rematch, they did have an absolute classic, and I mean classic, at Wrestle Dream. This is going to be another great match. I definitely think Hangman's taking this. You don't have the Cowboy Hangman Adam Page in a Texas death match and him not win. But this has been one of the best, and I mean, absolutely top-notch best stories that the AEW's had going on currently. Ever since they had to take a back seat with the Adam Cole and MJF, because that was the greatest thing they had going. But this rivalry here, it's more of a blood feud at this point, because, granted, this is all story and it's all pre-planned and it's all scripted. I get that. But that being said, Swerve broke into Hangman Adam Page's house, put like a mogul embassy, which is his, his group, shirt on top of the crib, all, kind of like, they used to do back in the Attitude Era. And he's been intense. I will admit that I have come around on Hangman Adam Page. I did not see what everyone, everyone's talking, oh, Hangman. I'm like, he's very average to me. This whole feud, he's really got to be himself and really has pushed the envelope. Like, when he had to meet face to face with Swerve. They couldn't touch each other, or they both get suspended, both lose the pay-per-view match. So he's talking shit. He's like, it says all this stuff, and then he looks at Nana and goes, I can punch you, though, and just starts beating up on him. And Swerve can't even touch Hangman because they can't touch each other. It was brilliant. He stabbed him with a fork. Or a pen, I think it was. Whatever. This has been a great feud, and I feel like it's almost guaranteed. Texas death match. Page wins and leads to Swerve Hangman 3. Okay, it's just a constant thing they're doing. Like, there's no reason to do 1 and 2 if there's not going to be a 3. It's just the way they're doing it. It just seems so obvious. That's what they're doing, and especially with this rivalry, if anything, other than any of the other ones, this one in particular, it's definitely going to go to a 3rd match. They're not ending it here. They're just not. It's just they're going to keep milking this story as much as they can, which they rightfully should because it's awesome. All right, next up, and the final match of the night, MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman versus Switchblade Jay White for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Well, this, I have to admit, this whole thing really bothers me. So, again, I am very aware that it's scripted. I am very aware that all this is planned. However, do you have any idea, at least from my point of view, this is my personal opinion, how weak a company looks if their face of their company has his title belt stolen You not only know who took it, but they're flaunting around with it. And I don't understand. Like, at some point, this is supposed to be real, right? If this is a real company, that's really trying to do the best they can, wouldn't Tony Khan or whoever managing or whatever go right to Jay White and be like, give him back his fucking title back? He's the champion. You have to earn it. And again, I understand why they're doing it for the story. But and I think this is why WWE did this on the last pay-per-view when Sami Zayn stole the Money in the Bank briefcase. He was forced by officials to hand it back to Damian Priest because it was his, which makes it make sense and makes it feel real. No company, no organization would want the person that is supposed to be the face of their company, who is the actual champion, to not have his championship belt and having somebody else running around with it. And again, I get it. I understand it's scripted. I understand it's all about this story. I understand that. But it doesn't make me feel like it's a real story. That's and I say this all the time, the true beauty of wrestling, pro wrestling, is that we all know it's fake, but there are moments where it doesn't feel fake and it feels 100% real. Unlike, if you go see the Marvels, for instance, you don't go in there and go, I'm going to go see a live recording of 3 female superheroes that saved the universe again. No, they're actors, they're portraying parts, and you watch the movie. Like, do you get mad because there is no superheroes flying through the sky? I mean, I do, but for different reasons, because I wish I was one. But there's something about wrestling when you're watching it, it's like, again, I know it's scripted, but there are moments where you lose that sense of that it's fake, and you just buy in, and it's beautiful. And for moments, you really think it's real, and it's a real competition and not planned out. It's something very special that only wrestling can give you. And I feel like it's obvious MJF is going to win and get his title back. It's just that simple. But again, if you're trying to portray reality, and Tony Khan has made announcements since that belt got stolen, didn't say a word about it. Which again, I'm not saying that Tony Khan needs to be more involved. I'm not saying any of that, but you can have it happen off screen. Be like, oh, how'd you get your belt back, MJF? Oh yeah, Tony Khan had the officials literally take it back because it's mine, which is exactly what they did when Sami Zayn took the Money in the Bank briefcase. It made it feel real. Like, why would he be able to run around with that belt, with that belt, or with the briefcase in that matter, when it's not his? Like, it's stupid. It really is. And really, it's honestly, in my opinion, just felt like they did it just to milk the story, just to push it a little bit further along without having to do much in the story. It's going to be a great match. Switchblade is a lot more talented than I think a lot of people realize. He is a New Japan sensation. Did everything he could do over there. And now he's in AEW with this new version of the Bullet Club, which I don't like that the Guns do. So the Guns have this issue where they will literally come to the ring and squash someone in 3 seconds. That doesn't make anyone look good. It just makes your opponent look bad and the company for putting someone who obviously, according to what we just saw, at the level, that'd be like putting me up against Undertaker in his prime. Anyone who did that would go, this is either for a lot of money, WWE is getting paid a lot of money to do this, or someone messed up somewhere. Because literally it would take one choke slam and I'm dead. That's all it would take. So like they're literally the last match they had on Collision, it was 1 310 to Yuma. Over. 3 seconds. just so they can cut a promo and talking shit to MJF. Just let him do a promo. Don't waste our time with this. And Wardlow, too. I cannot stand these fucking powerbomb. Oh, we're going to call it. Powerbomb. Oh, we're going to call it. Powerbomb. Swanton bomb. Oh, we're going to call it. Why? You want to make him look tough? Have all three of those guys face him at one time. That would be awesome. Like, they did and that's what it boggles me that they do well at this. And sometimes when they had House of Black had a match last night, they squashed them, but it took about a minute, 2 minutes, maybe even 3 minutes. They had these people who were very underqualified to be in the ring with them do some impressive spots that didn't work, and then they crushed them. That's how you do a squash match. Because you at least give something entertaining instead of one move, pin, game over. Who cares? I'm not counting that as a win. I know, again, I don't fucking matter, but like that's stupid. It's stupid, and that's they've done that with the Guns for like 4 weeks now, and it was old after the first one, to be honest. But I just don't see MJF losing. If he loses, it's gonna be at World's End in December in New York. So even if he's 100% going to re-sign with AEW, he's going to lose that championship to make you think, oh my God, he's leaving. Even if it's already 100% determined that he's going to be there. You know what I mean? It's just to add some, like, fluff. I don't want to say fluff, but add some meat to the bones of the story that he's leaving, whether or not it's true or not. I hope for his sake he stays in AEW let me rephrase that. As a fan of the MJF character, I hope he stays in AEW because A, he'll be allowed to do a lot more things, say a lot more things, but he can also get away with being himself and cursing and being an ass. He's our scumbag would not play in the WWE universe. They would not be happy him doing that. I think it's great. You know, and same thing with Will Ospreay. I truly hope Will Ospreay signs with either New Japan or with AEW, because if he goes to WWE, he's going to get watered down. And again, I want to clarify, I'm talking about just their characters. Me as fans of them as human beings, I hope they sign with the WWE because A, they're going to make them calm down so they get injured less, and B, they're going to make a shit ton of money. But for me as a fan of wrestling, I don't want that to happen because that'd be 2 more huge names that left AEW for WWE. It will probably start to lead to more leaving AEW for WWE. And the more competition there is, the better it is for the overall product of wrestling. When WWE doesn't have any competitors, they get real lazy. I mean, it might be different under the new management at TKO Holdings and Triple H and Ari Emanuel. All of them might, they might be able to do it without competition. But when they have competition, it automatically makes you up your game. It automatically makes you, at least if you got that fight in you, at least you got that dog in you. It makes you want to be better because you have something to compete. And the same thing I was saying with the Marvel movies, like all these Marvel fans that wanted the DCU to fail. I keep going, why? You don't have to watch it. But if there is another market, then that would make Marvel step up their game to put out better content, because then they would have to be, they're competing with someone. I mean, if there's only WWE, if you're a wrestling fan, you're only going to watch WWE. Now, granted, there's always the independents, and that a lot of people don't even watch. I mean, I don't watch many independents, I'm going to be honest. Besides like GCW and some of the Impact stuff, soon to be back to TNA, which I really like that. And stuff that I get sent from people who are in the wrestling community. I don't, at this point, I'm looking to branch out and get more indie watching stuff. And because not only do I like indies, they usually have to have better matches, better quality of storytelling, just like it is in comics. But there's a lot of it's not cheap to go to get all of them. There's a whole bunch of services you have to get in order to be able to watch all the other smaller promotions. But I'm hopefully going to get into that as soon as possible because I do like the indies a lot. Yeah, that's the whole show. I am looking forward to this pay-per-view. The one other thing, so there is a surprise signing that is respected by AEW fans and wrestlers alike. According to reports, it's not Mercedes Moné, formerly Sasha Banks. It's, according to reports, also not Will Ospreay, because his deal isn't up yet. Granted, the AEW does have a really good relationship with New Japan, so maybe they allowed him to and be like, hey, we're going to announce it here, but he's going to complete his contract. I just hope it's not Goldberg. Ryback. I'm going to throw out a name here. I think it's Ronda Rousey. And I think AEW's style, where she can be a lot more physical, I think would benefit her because she's an MMA fighter by trade. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like she had to be something she wasn't in her second run of the WWE because initially they treated her as just someone who comes in and busts people up. She would do some throws, she would do some holds, and she would do some hits. And then they had her like really doing a lot more when she came back the second time. It just didn't work with the fans. I think she could be a really good addition to AEW, not only because of her newfound love of wrestling, because if she's working indie shows, which she is, you don't work indies unless you have that itch to get back in the ring. Period. Unless she's out of money, which Ronda Rousey is not out of money. You know, I think Ronda Rousey is the signing. Because unless the WWE did something different than they always do, Mustafa Ali, Dolph Ziggler, Boogs, any of the guys or women wrestlers that were released recently that were not NXT are immediately out of the question because their 90 days has not passed. That'll be sometime in December. So it can't be any of them. Unless it's CM Punk. But CM Punk is definitely not liked and loved by all the fans and the wrestlers. So, and who is the devil? You got me. I initially thought the devil was Adam Cole. At this point, I have no idea who it is. None. But if I'm gonna throw out a guess, I'm gonna say the one in the devil mask, Dr. Britt Baker. It's Britt. She's mad at MJF for hurting her husband. I'm just gonna throw that out there because I can't. I'm excited to see who it is. It'd be interesting if it was like Samoa Joe or someone who's been threatening him, almost like, haha, I scared you into doing this. That'd be a nice little play. Maybe it's a Cage, maybe Christian. Who knows? I mean, hell, it might even be Edge. I've seen some people say, "Oh, it's CM Punk, man." If they played us all with this whole release thing, that's impressive, and I give them props. But I don't think it is. Like I said, it can't be any of the main talent roster WWE stars that were let go because their 90 days has not gone up. I mean, I think Ronda's the only legitimate possibility. I mean, unless the rumor that AJ Styles is not a part of the company anymore, which I don't believe. Maybe it's Will Ospreay. Maybe Will Ospreay has been doing it because he's the one that's signing the contract. And he's like, I'm the devil, maybe like I'm coming for your championship, Max. I mean, I could see that. I think we'll get our answer tonight, though. I really do. So thank you all for joining me. There wasn't too many people in the live chat today, but that is perfectly fine. I do appreciate anyone who came by or stayed or watched this on the replay on YouTube, TikTok, wherever else you're seeing it. Please do me a favor, give me a follow on all social media platforms. I am Nerdtooine. You can pretty much find me anywhere, whether that's on IG, Facebook, TikTok, Junkie, of course, YouTube. And make sure you come download Junkie. It's the future in not only collectible marketplaces, but a social media platform as well. So please give Junkie a download and come join the fun over here. That way you don't have to watch the replay. You can come in live and get into the chat. Until next time, this is Nerdtooine signing off, baby. Woo!